That's one part that I'm excited to share about this industry to more young people. Hey, this is a great trade to get into. My entire family, my brother, my sister, my parents, all my kids, all my nieces, nephews, that this industry has provided everything for them. Everybody's mortgage, car payments, vacations is being provided
by window film.
By window film. The more I sit back and think about that, it just makes me so happy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Born to Tint podcast with the Miller Brothers. I'm Ricky. Glad to be here with my big brother, Josh.
How's it going, everybody? Today we have a very special episode. We got Tim with Metro Tint on. Check out his Instagram. He's putting out all kinds of awesome content that we've taken inspiration from. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Thank you.
Trying to give tips out.
What got you into it? How you built it?
I see.
Stuff like that. How you use it, how you track it. My mind. I know my sister, I heard something like, you don't, with your following that you have right now, organically, like, are you still paying for ads or is it paying for itself when it comes down to it?
I don't pay.
So
It's pay anything.
So pure organic?
Pure organic.
The only thing is you want to keep the mic right about a fist from your mouth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, we already started. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're
No,
good.
you're good. We try to just get the conversation going.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much like, I mean, that's kind of where I wanted to kind of go with it because I see what you've built. I mean, that's kind of like we're trying to do. And that's what we're going after. Is like, you know, my sister told me that like when it comes like you don't pay for anything now, it's just pure organic. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, no ads. So at the very beginning, I did do some targeted ads, and that did help kind of get things kickstarted. But everything's just kind of on autopilot now.
How long did that take? Like from like when you first went in and started doing it with a little bit of paying and stuff, and then obviously at a certain point, like at what following, like I guess how big did the following get to when it finally got to the point where like I don't need to spend money anymore because I'm already organically reaching what I want to reach.
And what platforms are you on? I know you're on Instagram, but what else are you like consistently putting stuff on?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
Both of them I have around a little over 30,000 followers. So it's been, to answer your question, 3 years is how long I've been, really working on it.
Yeah.
Staying consistent with it. I think that's one of the most important parts. At the beginning, I had to stay very consistent, make sure to post good quality content every day.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting how well it works. So my videos are like on autopilot. I don't have to do ads. It's a version of search engine optimization also. So say a customer in my area is searching for residential window tinting, automotive window tinting, paint protection. Next time they get on Facebook, it's likely that one of my videos is going to pop up. So even though nowadays most of my videos aren't really targeted towards the consumer, they show up anyway for the consumer.
Yeah.
They see the quality work that we do.
That's been one of the things I've noticed with us finally getting consistent is, and we are doing ads, which I think the two have been complementing each other. But when you look at the results on Instagram, like engagements, followers, all of that, it's views, it's like 70% organic. So the organic is definitely, now that we're consistent with constantly putting organic content up and trying to make it informational.
Yeah.
And what's weird is I've gone on consultations where customers tell me that, they found us because they saw one of our clips, and it wasn't a clip that was necessarily directed towards consumers. It was maybe more information for another installer.
Yep.
But seeing that gave them trust and confidence that we know what we're talking about. And
that's exactly
what
I get. Almost, I'd say probably 75% of my customers. Like, wow, we see your videos.
Yeah.
Videos.
It is wild. Once we started getting consistent, really once we started doing the podcast, which has been about a year now, was when we got on a regular cadence of posting stuff consistently every single day. And within 3 to 4 months, I'm going on consultations, and it's like I'm hearing that over and over and over again, and it's only been building.
Yep.
So I'm excited, especially seeing how big yours has gotten, because I've been following you for a while. I've been enjoying what you've been putting out. seeing that you've been doing it for 3 years and we've only really been consistent for a year, like I'm excited to see where it goes for us in the future.
At that 1 year point, really about a year and a half, that's when it really started to kick off. It just started growing very rapidly.
Yeah, no.
Like even right now, it's just
Now, so you were after the first year follower wise, what were you at like number wise?
probably about 8, 9, 10, maybe.
And then from there, it just all started
Just
start taking off on you.
like, for example, my Facebook following when we were at the Panorama Pro meeting was 20,000. It's now 32, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
It also is because they put out some pretty interesting videos in the past, few weeks. Also,
Yeah, I know.
the content makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it's definitely where we definitely used the podcast to set us up to where we'd be consistent, where we're at least putting out one piece of content a day. And it is more obviously conversations where either educational, just trying to get out there. Hey, this, you can put film on flat glass. These are the do's and don'ts. This is what it can do, can't do, and stuff like that, just to get it in front of customers' eyes. But allowing us to actually finally have that consistency of at least one piece of content going up every day. And then it got to a point, it's like, all right, we need to start having more content of us installing, because they see us talking. But now it's better. Let's let them see our installers install, make videos, make some fun videos, have educational videos in there. But you have to have some entertainment too.
Yeah.
So you have to have a little fun. So every once in a while, when reels popping or a certain memes popping or something like that, we'll put a video together. And like those ones usually are the ones that are kind of like they pop just because it's either something just kind of funny and quirky, but then it also just gets more traction for us and gets more views. And I definitely look at the fact now, like now that everything's in-house, we at first started off at another studio, and then now we're at the point where thankfully my graphics / ClearBraw installer, he had taken classes for editing, and he was like, I can do Photoshop Premiere and the CapCut.
Nice.
And we were able to like literally transition him to like, now I'm doing everything in my possible power to like, you're never going to install again. You're going to be shooting videos and editing and posting. And that's what he's been doing. And it's the more consistent we've got and the better quality of content we put out, we can just see it's like, all right, this is definitely what we should be doing. Like, let's keep devoting the time to be as consistent as humanly possible and put out as much good content as we possibly can, because we see what the return can be.
Oh yeah.
If you get after it.
Oh yeah.
What's wild to me is like we really emphasized Google for the longest time, because in my mind, 90% of searches on the 90-something% of searches on the internet are Google.
Google Ads.
So it was like, make sure we get and get reviews. So Google reviews. So we've got nice jobs set up so that as soon as we did that, all of a sudden it's just automated. You don't even have to ask. People get the follow-up text, they get follow-up emails, and it's kind of crazy when you go on there and look, like the third or fourth contact with asking for it sometimes gets it, which if you just ask one time in the lobby way like that, but if you give them the link, like, so
it
it's
makes
like,
it easier.
But what's crazy to me is like my mindset on that was like, okay, if the majority, like we pretty much ignored Yelp because it's a thing, but if 90% of people are searching for stuff are doing it on Google, that was my big thing. I just heard a stat the other day, 4 billion people in the world are using Meta monthly. That's half the planet. Like, so it's like getting content on there and getting on people's phones, because that's where they're spending hours a day. Like that's even more powerful, or at least equal to the search. And it's not just people that are already looking for what you do. We're creating new customers. People that think window tint goes on cars. Like everybody I ask that is I didn't even know I could tint my house until I saw your guys' video. It's like, you only thought it was for cars, right? Yep. And I've been hearing that my whole life. And it's like, well, let's educate. Let's get video content out there on the thing that people are on. Instagram, Facebook. We're doing some TikTok now too, just because it translates.
Do a little bit also.
Just because the younger generation's on there, and we might as well start branding to them now, and you never know. Like, and that's actually been going well now that we've actually added a little bit of ads on that to try to like give that a little bit of a boost. But yeah, I don't know. It's seeing what people like you are doing and other people out there that have taken and run with it and been consistent with it, and seeing like, oh, like this must be working. I haven't talked to you directly about it, but I can see you've been consistent with it, and your followers are going up.
Really works.
I mean, it's translated for your business drastically, correct?
Huge.
Yeah.
It really works. And it really does educate the customer, like hitting on what you said about people that don't know about house window tinting or security film.
Yep.
Even I've had a few videos on security film that have gone over 1 million views or something on Facebook. It's kind of funny sometimes, like if they show the reverse roll method or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. You put it on backwards.
Why is the plastic coming off that side?
But when that kind of stuff happens, it makes a video just explode.
Yep.
The social media platforms, they want engagement.
Yep.
They like the engagement. So sometimes on the big videos that go a little crazy, kind of viral, you get some goofballs on there with some interesting comments, but it's always good in the end, because so many people, so many teachers, I've had so many comments from so many teachers on security film videos. I've gotten so much work for armor coat, for security film.
Yep. Yeah. No, yeah. Anytime there's any kind of point of controversy, and then when that engagement hits, like a couple of our biggest videos right now that we've put out, one of them was us talking about tinting your windshield, and then the conversation, like that full conversation, is we were talking with a gentleman about like us saying like you don't have to go darker than 70. The film's out there, the technology's out there. If you're just going darker than 70, it's for vanity. You just want it dark. Right. You don't want to be seen, which teachers on, it's fine. But our company, we don't do that. We only go down to 70% because that's what's medically legal in our state. Because we also don't want the setback if someone were to say hit somebody, accident, like that just hurts our industry when it comes down to it. But that video, how it was cut and edited, like the comments and I only murder out all my cars. Or then other people like, oh, if you tint your windshield, that's stupid. And then they just go back and forth with each other. I'm just sitting there liking comments. I'm like everything. I'm just like, keep going, please. Just keep talking.
It's hilarious.
Oh, it's pure entertainment. Yeah. Pure entertainment.
I had one that we tinted a 62 Chevy in the video. The windshield video just got a lot of views. And so many people just, oh, that's so illegal. And just the arguments that happen in.
Where are you at again?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Awesome. Well, yeah, it's the windshield stuff's interesting. The algorithm is, like you said, it's designed for engagement. So anything that people are engaging with is just gonna, and that's why people kind of look at social media as a cesspool. And it's like,
it can be.
You just have to realize that that's what it is. And like the things that get people outraged are going to be the things they probably comment on, and kind of is what it is.
Then some of the really good tips and tricks, that always goes over.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Or just covering the door panels, taping things off.
Yep.
Or residential, showing the ladder setup, showing the film handler setup. People love the film handler.
Oh, no, we've made a couple.
I love my film handler.
Oh, yeah. Now we for the longest time we had resistance against using them in here. Installers that just didn't want to use them, just want to cut out the box.
I was that person for a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
But like once you really get it down and you really learn how to use it properly, the amount of film you save, the amount of time you save, especially like we're using TintWiz now, and the way we use it and put all of our measurements in, the guys know exactly how they can split it, exactly how to save the most film. We pre-label everything. So we print out labels out of TintWiz. Yep. So they hang up the labels, cut the patterns, label them, show up on the job site. In the past, we were and I know a lot of people still do this, show up with your rolls of film, bring them in, put a drop cloth down, hopefully, and cut the patterns off the ground in the customer's home. And like, compared to somebody showing up with patterns already cut, don't have to spend an hour maybe cutting patterns. You can immediately start cleaning and installing windows. The efficiency that you gain out of that, and the amount of film you save. When you're cutting out of a box, you're not going to get an exact measurement, so you need to pull an extra 2 or 3 inches times 20 cuts out of a roll of film. That's a couple extra windows you can get out of every roll of film. That ends up adding up at the end of the day for money in your pocket. Like,
film handlers. Huge money saver.
I can't recommend it.
We have so much commercial, like aluminum frame, rubber gasket. I do the exact cut situation.
Yep. Same thing.
Pulled seals, except for the top, of course,
Yep.
and
Same thing.
pop them in, put the gaskets back in, done.
Yep. That's the only way we do it.
Boom.
And the cool thing with that for us, having been training new people up for a while now,
Yeah.
is I can get someone that's new, and he said this before too, especially now that we have this setup.
Yep.
We spend a week dedicated on the commercial frame right there, showing someone how to pull those gaskets and how to install a pattern that's already cut. Other than we'll leave it to where you still cut the bottom. So pull the sides and bottom gaskets. If the window's small, we'll even pull all four. On a big window, we'll leave the top gasket. But if you pull the sides and the bottom and you have the sides cut exact, and just to save time on not cutting it exact on the film handler, and like dropping that in, squeegeeing it, cutting the bottom edge, finishing it off, I can teach anybody to do that in a week.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to go on cleanly because you can,
very clean.
yeah, you wipe out those
Little
edges.
dabs,
Yeah.
Don't worry about the cut.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, it's,
Yep.
and it looks like that's how the window came when you're done. So
Right.
rather than I still go out and you probably do the same thing. You go out to eat or something and you see work somebody else did,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you see they trimmed the edge of that gasket off, and like
Cut the tip
there's
right
dirt
to
all
it,
in
or
it, and
trim
it's
it.
like, what
Oh,
are we
yeah.
doing, man?
Already
Like,
curling up. You see the corner
Yeah.
flipping.
yep,
Yeah, it's in my area. It's bad. What's really bad is the security film and the attachment systems.
yeah,
But
I think we're getting a nice good wave right now of that starting to be a big push to hold the standard really high, put out educational videos of showing this is what it should look like, this is what it should be, and this is at least showing like, all right, yes, this person over here might be significantly cheaper than me, but at the same time, are they actually doing what needs to be done to make this safe? Because if it comes down to it, if you're shortchanging your bead or putting a skimpy bead on there with the wrong window, it's doing nothing.
it's defeating the purpose
Yep.
of even putting it up.
yep,
What I started doing, because in my area, I'm sure here too, they always choose the lowest bid most of the time. But what I've started to do, because I go into it knowing that, and I'm not the cheapest.
yep,
I get out displays. I give them windows that are done with Dow properly, with it done improperly. I have them test it. I've got all these videos of a bunch of cool tests. They're great.
Oh,
Yes,
that's a
that-
great idea.
They love that. Some of the, like, give it to the science department, at the school. Let them drop bricks on it or something.
That's a great idea.
That is a
One thing
great
That's a
idea.
good idea.
Helps me get, because there's guys that are charging $2-3 a linear foot for attachment.
Oh my god.
Where I have to do at least 6 on my end
Yep.
or more. It
Yep.
all depends. I can't go against $2 a linear.
No, that's
I'm
ridiculous.
No, that's you're doing.
I'm not
You're just
making-
putting it up there. You're just not. You're not even.
Well,
You're not even
doesn't pay
feeding
for the
yourself.
tape. That
Yeah.
doesn't even pay
No,
for the
that-
tape and
Yeah.
the Dow.
Yeah. No, that's ridiculous.
So
Especially when you're laying the correct amount too. When it comes down to it, like
Yeah.
it's. Yeah.
Right.
No.
I went on a job recently that I wasn't going there for security film, but it was a school,
I know which one.
and whoever installed the film there, they couldn't get a hold of, and they just wanted some solar
God.
control replaced in like the music room that they were lower windows that the kids had scratched up, so they just needed a couple windows and dual reflective replaced. And Slate 10 ended up being like a good match to replace those windows. But when I came in, I noticed the entryway looked like it had security film on it, but the gaskets were still in with like a thin 1/8-inch bead of Dow
Over
to
the gas?
to the gasket, not even all the way over the gasket, to the gasket. And I had to like take the person that was
That's
bringing
too
me in there for the
bad.
job and show it to him and be like, this right here isn't secure. Like, just so you guys know, I want to let you know, like, and so if something happens, you don't think that film doesn't work, but this needs to be redone. Like, whoever did this did not know what they were doing
right.
and really kind of took advantage of you guys. Like that type of stuff really pisses me off, because especially at a school, like, how are you going to take on a school project and not know
what
what?
kids.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing for me. That's because when that fails, that's the worst thing possible, especially in that setting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that kills me, because anything like that does, if something were to happen, because in their mind, like, well, what are the odds? Yeah, but at the same time, that's something not worth gambling on ever when it comes down to it. Like, absolutely not. But when that does fail, the repercussions to our industry, crushed our industry, because all it takes is
Totally.
one bad thing to happen like that, and then like, well, they had security film and they walked right through that stuff, and it's
Right.
like no one's gonna want it. Like all of it being mandated right now with, like in Texas, I know Texas is a free for all when it comes to security film in the schools, because they want security film on all their schools by,
I think by the end of next year it has
next
to be.
year. Like that's,
I don't know exactly, but I know they put like a time. The state legislator
Give them a time frame.
they they said, here, we're going to allocate a budget to it. Every school in Texas needs security film, and right now people are just doing school after school after school.
My state's doing something similar, but I don't know about a time frame.
Yeah.
But the money that's going to it is
It's crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
yeah. And then the other bad thing too is you make content of you doing that, showing this what can be done, and then all of a sudden the comments you get on that is like, oh, you're just doing this for money. It's like, well, yeah, I'm running a business and I want to obviously run a business that's profitable, but at the same time, wouldn't you want to do anything, like everything possible to make sure you can put as many stops and protections in the way of your children? Like I have a 5-year-old, like,
Yeah, I have a
like,
4-year-old.
like it's like, yeah, I'm hoping this never has to be used, literally ever. I don't ever want to have to worry about it being used. But at the same time, if anything were to happen at his school, knowing that there's an extra line of defense to slow that person down, because that's the other thing that people will get misconstrued. Like, oh, they still got through it. Like, yeah, they're going to get through it, but it's about
Just
buying
takes
time.
to
Yeah,
get the security, get the police, get everybody.
exactly. Give the appropriate time for to have the response that either police or anyone in security should have to then do their job. But it's buying time. That's the name of the game. When you buy more time, you save more lives. So
yeah, it's at least it's something that's doing something rather than all the arguments on what can we do about school shooters or whatever. And it's like, okay, we're not taking everybody's guns away, and criminals and crazy people are going to get a hold of them no matter what. So that's just to keep us distracted. At least this is something that actually is doing something,
Right.
and it's going to buy time. Like this is a real solution. So people that are angry about it's what we were talking about earlier. It's the algorithm, and people just get outraged. There's always going to be people outraged.
There's a lot of people that I have to say to them, like, I understand maybe you didn't have a good day. I hope your day gets better. I'm glad I could be an outlet for your stress.
Yeah, that's a good way to respond. Yeah,
I like that. That's real good.
But back to the social media. One thing that I got to say helps so much, and just kind of a big tip, on the caption, on every caption, if you're consistent with it, to put your website at the end of the caption. Like I put www.metrotintstl.com.
Okay.
At the end of every caption.
That's
know what that does? It's Google. It's SEO.
Oh, it's SEO on it.
So much. Well, that's when you're paying an SEO company.
Yeah.
They do that.
Okay.
They do those kind of things.
Okay.
So it's like we're doing our own. As you're posting,
yeah,
do that.
And then especially if something gets a lot of engagement, it's gonna weigh it even more.
Oh,
yeah, that's great.
Like if you're in my area and you type in window tint, you're gonna see Metro Tint, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything immediately, organically, because I've done that like 600 times.
That's like even before getting into the comments, if something pops, and making sure if you just keep the engagement going and driving them back to your links, you're just already putting your link in there. It's already there, and then you can do it past that, but beyond that, you're already beating them to the punch of showing them like, go here,
yeah,
this right here. This is that's
it. Google crawls it too.
Yeah,
Google picks that up.
All right, you're gonna see from this point forward. It was November 6th. I'm pretty sure the rest of the content we post from this point forward is now going to have our website.
Yeah, no, we're definitely
at the end of it
using that
every
one.
single time.
That's a great tip.
It's huge.
That is genius.
Yeah, it works.
I say this is probably one thing I enjoyed most about us starting and doing this is sitting down and having these conversations.
Yeah,
like we selfishly get our reels out of it, and then also I get to sit down and have a conversation with, especially when it comes to people within the industry that are definitely sticking out and holding strong to a certain thing. Like with you in social media, like I was looking forward to sitting down and talking with you. Like I said, I was able to grab about 20 minutes of the conversation at Panorama because you spoke at the Panorama Pro meeting.
right.
But at the same time, when we were able to, when Michelle reached out and said, "Oh, he's going to come on," I was like, "Yes,
Oh yeah,
I get to have a private conversation. This is even better." Like that's genius. Like just hearing that, it's like, well, that makes all the sense in the world. Why weren't we already doing that?
There's a lot of different things too that, see, I'm a bit of a nerd. I like to test things. I like to see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And that right there, that really works. And then even certain settings within how you're shooting, and then settings and the topics that you add on every video. Do you guys add topics when you post? Go on to the extras. Yeah. Okay.
That's the man. We need to get you talking with Jordan before you leave, because he's the one that's been doing most of it, but he's been consistently like,
because it really helps to be able to just, the way I see it is, when I'm posting a video, I imagine, okay, how am I going to tell this computer system, Meta, what this video is about and who to show it to. So my captions are all about like what the video is, and then a lot of times I hashtag the same. Like if I say something about ceramic window tint in there, I'm going to hashtag ceramic window tint, or hashtags the words that I use in the comments.
Okay.
It's another form of search engine optimization.
So have you been playing with AI to do any of that yet, or no?
It doesn't. Yes, I have. Okay. I have, and I found out that it doesn't so much like it. It likes it when you use Meta likes when you use its platform to post on. Like say if I post on Instagram and Facebook, I'll post on Instagram and cross post to Facebook. It's happy with that. Or if I post on Facebook, cross post it to Instagram.
I mean more for like actually like if you've got a comment or a caption or like the actual post of the reel or the video, like when you're writing it out, have you played around with actually like writing out what you would write and then having AI kind of work it up for you? Mm-hmm. That's the part I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, because that's what we've been doing.
But you found it's good.
It seems like it's working, but what I really like, the idea I'm having right now is like we can go and look at your content and how it's performing, and we can even give it, like, since you're doing all of these extra things that you know that you've tested and work, we can copy that, a handful of them that have really performed, and give it to it and go, hey, now we're going to post a video. Can you do it in a similar form and use similar type of captions? And you know, then all of a sudden kind of have a prompted chat that's already gonna put out all of those things that matter, like what's in this, like tell it what's in the video, but then it's already gonna know to pull those hashtags and
and the consistency of the time of posting, pretty important.
I've noticed when we've gone to Tinner battles or WFR or Panorama or whatever, we've been making way more content during those events, and the amount we're posting at that time increases because there's so much to caption. And then you see an influx in followers, and like the percentage of followers you're getting and the percentage of engagement just goes up drastically just by increasing that volume. So it's like the consistency of one a day is great, but when you get to the point when you can start doing that and then increasing the volume of that to a couple a day, and maybe all of a sudden you have a day that there's like 6, you actually see a huge influx. It's not like a linear increase.
Huge.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited to see where that goes with us. Like now, starting to dial things in, having the windows we have now, because now we can make content just let alone in here.
This would be a whole lot of fun. I could make some fun content in here.
So I'm really
good setup.
I'm really looking forward to that. And then also when it comes down to when we start actually bringing people in to train them and stuff like that, and then content of us training, posting that. Same thing, just educate, put it out there, and then put out there more of kind of what the industry standards would be technically be. Because I mean, we're taking a consensus of across of like technically all the top guys in the industry. And like every time we hold a class, when we start getting classes going, I want to bring someone in new to help teach the class with it, just because it's a completely different aspect of installing, because you're never going to find 2 installers that are the same. It's just not going to happen. You're going to find installers that are inspired by certain installers, and they'll do something like similar, but they'll do it to what feels natural to them. But all that really matters for all of us is the end goal, is the proper install, the technical, I guess, always trying to achieve no contaminant, but at the same time, there's always going to be contaminant because it's aftermarket, and we try to be as perfect as we can, but it doesn't necessarily exist. But knowing where those lines are, what's
acceptable.
Yes, acceptable, and the high standard of the fact of like that's where your cut line should be. It should be no bigger than that.
Right.
And a speck here and there. All right, yes, they're there, but here, this is how you're going to address it and tighten it up to where to anyone's eyes who isn't in the industry, they're never going to see it.
Oh yeah.
A tinner walks in and like, I mean, I break down every window.
Yeah.
You see someone's window, you're like, oh, let me see.
Yeah, you can find
this
what
is a
the
good
anchor-
installer. Like, ooh, damn. Like, as you're like walking up to, you're 2 feet away from me. You're like, nope. Oh my god, this is not good.
Flip up.
Yeah.
You tell, hey, that was 2-stage, or that was bottom load.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Or
especially
even
the
like
cars.
just showing like what we were talking about earlier, the pulling gaskets on commercial windows.
Yeah.
Like we've been doing this our whole life, and we didn't start doing that until 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like we were part of the problem for a long time where we were trimming the edges of those gaskets.
I started in 96. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
That was a question I was going to ask you. So you started 96, you start like auto, and then you got into flat glass. What was your journey?
Flat glass was my very first thing I started getting into. I worked for a company called Quality Glass Tinting for a few years in my beginning stages. I was going to college. I would work from 8 to 5 and then go to school at night from 7:30 to 10. A lot of fun. But yeah, flat glass. And then if I got back early, like say I got back at 3 or something, got all my work done, I'd hop on a car.
And now when it comes to learning how to tint, how did you learn? Did you just pick it up yourself, or were you kind of like the typical introductory in that time frame in my eyes was like you found someone that is willing enough to train you, and they slowly trained you along, but also the fear was if I'm training you, you could become my competitor. Because that was always the fear that I sensed, because like in the early 2000s, I was 14, 13 years old. I was starting to install, like the first house I did technically by myself. My dad left me at, I was 14 because I looked like I could be 16 years old.
Sure.
But installing wise, I knew what I was doing, and my dad knew I could get the job done. But it was just like the slow learning process, and everything seemed like even someone that we'd bring in to technically, I guess, kind of train, which we really didn't do that much of back then. It was definitely one of those things where I'm going to show you some tips, but you give me my prepper for a long time. And then after that, I'm going to slowly build you to this and just slowly get you along. Is that how you just pretty much picked it up? Was you started with prepping, or they just kind of throw you to the wolves to figure this out?
My first 2 weeks were prepping, and then a guy quit or got fired. I don't remember. And I got thrown out on the job. Go ahead and figure it out. Because back then, there were only 2 window tint shops in St. Louis. Now there's 36.
Okay.
But back then, there were only 2. So it had to get done.
Yep.
So I went out. In my beginning years, I'm still particular about everything, but gosh, I used to be so particular. I'd yank off film for the littlest little. Yeah.
But
Man, I could totally relate to that because I'll still have one every now and then that I'm like, yeah, no,
sure.
that can't stay. And I could probably clean it out, fish it out, deal with it, but like it's not. It's quicker to just redo the window real quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Figuring out that line was always useful because you'll spend 20 minutes trying to fix something, and then even when you get done with it, you're like, yeah, it's acceptable, but I don't like this, and then you end up tearing it off anyway. And it's like, oh, well, I just spent 10 more minutes just retinting. I should have did it to begin with. I would have saved myself 20 minutes to a half hour and wasting my time on that, just worrying about that one piece of film when it's like just wasted 30 minutes. You could have tinted 2 more windows in that time, depending on what kind of window that was. You just cost yourself more money when it comes down to it. So figuring out that line was always the hard part for me to begin with. Because I'm very stubborn. The fact that I don't want to waste film and then trying to get it out,
I'm right there with you on that.
So you're also in the Panorama Network?
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to go to Panorama this year. How long you been in it for, and how long you been using SolarGuard?
I've been using SolarGuard for about 7 years.
Okay.
I've been Panorama for 2. This is on 2.5.
Okay.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, no, we were buying SolarGuard when they were DTI. So when obviously I was a little kid, my dad, and that's when my dad for one of the first films he started buying, and then when the network got created, we jumped into it and It's
I think 99.
99, 2000 when it started. And then we have had a presence at every meeting since then. Either it was my dad at first, and then it was like me and my dad. And then there's been a year where like my sister and one of my cousins, she was one of our sales reps, they went. And then I try to make them as much as possible. I mean, to begin with, I was in my early 20s, and it was just like, oh, we're going to have a fun time. Not realizing how much knowledge was in that room at the time, especially with those earlier meetings. There was like 100 and something dealers, but still like the main core, like I'd say top 30, top 50, kind of what the pro network is now.
Yeah.
Like they were all in that room at the same time, and not realizing like I wasted years of knowledge. I probably could have had questions and probably got myself even further along, and not realizing the real worth of those meetings. And especially now where they have them
We always got
in.
value out of them.
Oh, we got
though.
value,
We
but
were learning while we were
Could have
there.
got
But
more.
yeah, like even Nice Jobs. Nice Jobs was something that they had come presented at the Panorama Network 5-6 years ago when we started using it.
That shop's awesome.
Yeah, and it was like we have to use that immediately. We had 80. My parents started in 83. We've been in this building since 92.
That's awesome.
When we started Nice Jobs 6 years ago,
Yep.
think about maybe that time frame.
18, 17, yeah.
We had 80 total reviews on everything on Facebook, because it tells you when you link it up to everything, like between Yelp, Google, Facebook, everything. We had 80 total reviews. Now did we crest 2,000 yet on Google? I think we're like right there right now, but like just Google.
That's pretty
Just
dang
Google.
impressive.
So like, and that's just a couple of years of finally actually asking every customer. And of course, you got to do quality work where the person wants to leave a review. That's
You don't want a bad one.
yeah. So, that combined with just asking every customer now in an automated way, that was a game changer. And that came directly from it being at a Panorama meeting saying, hey, this is an option.
The Panorama Network has very much impressed me on how much knowledge you can gain from everybody.
Yeah, it's been a huge value to us.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've used a lot of different films in my years and dealt with a lot of different manufacturers, distributors, and there's no comparison, really. I could say absolutely no comparison.
That's one question we kind of keep getting is kind of like, why do we choose, like, what was it? Did we choose SolarGuard to partner with? Where did it start? How have they kept us around? And I mean, the product, like the material, like especially Panorama. We've been installing Slate for
Slate
2 decades,
Slate's
and
like the most rock solid film.
Solid product I've ever seen.
Yeah, for an installer,
especially
for the end
installer-wise.
consumer, like
Right.
how long it lasts. I mean, we just had it might have been one of our only warranties ever. I mean, there's only been a handful that we did, just warranted an entire house for a lady that we tinted 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just starting to show signs of failure.
It's got to make you feel good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at least like, hey, we did this 20 years ago and it's still,
Yeah. And it really didn't even look that bad. It was just barely starting to show signs of like failure. And it was like,
I
okay.
wonder how it was performing. Still, did you get to meter it at all or anything?
No, but I mean, it's from the outside, it looked fine. It was just, you could see slight distortions on the inside. That was it. And it was like, she actually had us come out to just tint one window that had been replaced. And when I got out there, I noticed that when she kind of asked about it, and I was like, we could probably warranty this for you. And,
It was probably old CDA adhesive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The removal kind of sucked.
Removal
That's the
sucked.
one thing I'm glad they did. And it's funny because as an installer at the time that they made the switch from CDA to PS across the board, I was like, no, don't do that. Because CDA as an installer, it's just like, and if you do get something in it, it washes right out.
Right.
But they've killed it with their advancements in PS now because it installs just as clean.
Yes. Drops
And
just
now
as
if you do
easy.
need to remove it, you don't have the nightmare of removing CDA.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad, especially on big projects.
I found a really interesting trick to remove it. I made a video about it, but it didn't get a whole lot of reach.
What are you using? Because my guys have been actually enjoying using Fusion's adhesive remover.
I incorporate that into what
okay.
I do. So if it's, say it's some really old baked on CDA or CDF adhesive, of course, get the muscle out, hack it off.
Yep.
And, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Oh, yeah.
I take Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. I spray it with Fusion Epic Orange. I dump a little bit of baking soda on it for a little extra grit.
Yeah.
And kind of dab it on there at first, let it sit and soak, and then go back and scrub. Of course, be careful of the frames.
Yeah.
That magic eraser is abrasive. It will take on a wood frame. It'll take off paint.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful about the edges, but it actually takes it off. So where you, like, say if you're reapplying highlight 40 or something like that, you're not going to get the. It's a pretty interesting.
Oh, I'm trying that immediately. The next job we got. Yeah. No, that's a great one.
Right. Wear gloves though, because it will eat your hands.
Okay.
But we're using the Epic Orange all day.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's gonna tear up your hands.
We just did one not so long ago like that. It was some old, some Vista old CDF adhesive, like V33 or something. They were like a French paint setup, but bigger, like probably 14 by 26, 50 or 60 of them.
Yeah, not
a lot of fun.
No fun.
A lot of fun.
Well, when you do those ones, your installers instantly were like, whenever they hit PS, they're like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. Just sweat it and scraping right off.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes it's good to run across.
Gooey
oh, it's
glue,
awesome.
All gone.
That is the best when you wet that glue and you throw your blade on, you see it gum up you're like, yes, today's gonna be a good day.
So have you had success with that? With the other one that's always been a nightmare that I haven't figured out a good trick for is old anti-graffiti.
Oh,
because that glue ends up being, because it's supposed to be removable, for some reason it like slimes onto the window, and no matter how much you scrape it, I've never tried using anything like that. I bet you that would work good for that too.
It does work. It does work, but I have run into some nightmares on that one too.
Yeah.
And it was really pretty recently where I came up with that little trick.
I'm going to have to try that the next time we go, because there's a couple of projects downtown that we always tell them to have us replace it before it gets too old. But every now and then we end up down there and it's like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, you're wondering if it's one that you installed a year ago or if it's one that you just installed like 3 months ago. 3 months ago, it's a nice day.
It's all good.
This is real nice.
Come right off.
You walk up to it and you see like the bottom part all cracked up. Like, oh, this has been on here for over a year. Oh, no, this is going to suck.
So this is a reminder actually to me that I'm going to start doing it. From now on, anything we install anti-graffiti in TintWiz, I'm scheduling an appointment for them to follow up on to like 2 years ahead of time. And for us to just, it'll pop up on the calendar to call these guys and remind them, whatever, at a year, whatever, that we'll come up with a date. But if we remind ourselves in the system to contact these people and let them know, like, hey, even if it still looks good,
we'll give them a better rate.
Yeah, give them a discount. That way we don't have to deal with the removal.
Then there's no
something
time.
very similar.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
It actually works.
Yeah. That's something I thought about last time we ended up on one of those. Like, man, we should really set up something. And now we can with TintWiz. We're so organized with it. We should just automatically schedule it.
I do a lot of little, like, kind of like, I guess you could call it a maintenance program type thing. Like with that, like we'll come back and check on you in a year or two.
Oh, that's a good
Or
idea.
like with paint protection film. I don't know if you guys do too much paint protection, but so many people go through those high pressure washes and cramps dirt underneath an edge that might be showing and needs attention. So with a lot of PPF installs, we do a little maintenance package. Anytime you want, come by and get something touched up, trimmed up, whatever.
Especially if those edges get addressed, because that edge is, you tell them don't cram wax in it, don't do this, don't do that, but it's eventually going to happen over some washes. But if you're able to get attention to it right then, absolutely, you can make it last even longer when it comes down to it. And then they feel like then you're presenting here, there's this free thing for you that we just want to make sure we're going above and beyond for you.
Is that like a package where you like upgrade like a service charge to have that? How does that work? Because I like that idea a lot.
Depends on how long, like say for PPF, I usually add like extra $200 package for like the next 2 years. Basically like $100 a year.
So like kind of like a no fault. Bring it by every 6 months. Let us check it.
You got some bird poo that's stuck on there that you're worried about. Bring it by. I'll take care of it. You want you got some dirt seeping into one of the edges at the top of the A-pillar where it couldn't be tucked, bring it on by. We'll take care of it.
No, that's great. That's a great value
I
add
like
where you're
that.
getting more money up front. You're offering more value to the customer,
Mhm.
and there's going to be a percentage of people that never use it anyways. That's
No,
that's great. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people that really like, I would work on a lot of show cars too, and they're the ones that really take advantage. Like they just come by for a cleanup and touch up before a show.
I like that.
So just to make sure everything's, you know,
On the up and up.
tip
So, do
top.
you offer like detailing, ceramic coating, or are you sticking to tint, paint
I work-
protection?
I work with another company that they send us paint protection, like at least probably 3 vehicles a week. We send them details left and right weekly.
Yeah,
We just work
I
well
like
with
that
each
model.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the kind that in my area in St. Louis, Missouri, I'm that guy that's probably trained you if you own a business. I'm friends with everybody. You know, window tinters a lot of times like to butt
Yeah.
heads a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm better than you, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
My product's better than yours, this, that, and the other. I don't care. I'm not like that. I just want to be your friend.
Yep.
You know, you need some help. You're struggling on the back window of a classic car. Call me. I'll come help you.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
that's
I
always
just like
better.
the relationships.
Yep.
And we work with a lot of interior designers and builders too, and same kind of thing. You know, if an interior designer has had me do something to one of their customers' homes, and she's brought in somebody to do paint and flooring, and somebody scratched a few windows, I just go take care of them. You know, they call me,
Yep.
take care of them, keep them happy.
No.
They send so much dang business, you know.
No, that makes sense. We're the exact same way. I think you have to be that way. That competitive nature of like we're going to compete with the guys on the road and not building up a network of people that you can help, they can help you. Like
Yeah.
that's the way to do it. Being competitive with other shops around or whoever is just it's a waste of energy in my mind.
I've definitely learned to where I get that competitive nature out. That's why I do like competing in the competitions. I'm able to that's where that comes out to where let's go have some fun.
It's so much fun.
We're all here to have a good time. Like, yes, it's competition to see who's the best and all that stuff. So you kind of get that out. But when it comes off of that and when it has to now dealing with the consumer and stuff like that, like, no, you have a question, call me. Like, hit me up. If I've been trying to get better. I have been getting better because people have been hitting me up more often now, either direct messages or call them. Like, I'll give my cell number. Like, if you got a question, just let me know. Like, and I've gotten a few phone calls. They're like, hey, what would you do with this film? And I'll tell them like, well, this is what I would try. And then all of a sudden, let me know if it works. And then they'll try it. Appreciate it. But I also know at the same time, if I ever get stuck in a situation, I can absolutely reach back out to them. Because at the same time, I do not know everything. And I probably had my biggest growth realizing that in the fact of reach out to the people that you are creating that network with. And where if you do have a question to bounce off of them, like a lot of the changes we've made around the shop now, like even gearing towards, like we just became a Solar Guard select shop for auto. We've been a panorama dealer. That's the one thing, like that's my non-starter. Any manufacturer is like, well, what's going to take for you to stop selling Solar Guard or panorama for flat glass? I'm like, that's not going to happen. Like to weave back in,
I'm right there with you on that.
To weave back into like why we with Solar Guard beyond the material, it's the relationships that we have with everybody in that company.
The
like
people there are amazing.
Like
Amazing.
I didn't realize that. Like I've known Steve Shore since 2007. That's when he started working
Steve's
for.
awesome.
Oh, it was
yeah.
like that was my first panorama meeting. Was 07. It was in San Diego, and it's like I think he came on for. I think he was on the marketing team if I'm not mistaken. And it's like when we sat down and had a conversation with him when he was on, I think like episode, I don't remember, like somewhere in the 20s or 30s. Like we had that conversation, and now I've been realizing like I've known you since 07. You've known me since I was 18 years old. Like it's crossing a point now. You've known me longer than you haven't known me.
That's cool.
It's and then I started thinking about everyone within the company too. Nick, our rep, Scott Iverson, Miguel, John Mitchell, Lindsay.
Mitchell.
I
love John.
Being able to have access to John Mitchell and Miguel, it's almost a cheat code when it comes down to it, because anything that come like glass-wise, like he'll call me if he has a question about something or he's not sure about something. And usually if it's like he throws it at me, I'm like, call Miguel. I'm like, I think this, but because I'm thinking this only because of a conversation I'm recalling I've had with either Miguel or John, but call him to verify. And then they're always there to answer. You don't have to stick just with, it's not like, well, you got to call your rep. It's like, no, I mean, obviously I have other questions. Nick takes care of me all the time. He's always there for me. But at the same time, I can reach out to any rep, even reach out to Mike down in Florida.
Mike's so cool.
John up in the yeah. Like,
he's my rep.
Anyone, you can reach out to anybody and they all answer their phones instantly. And if they don't know the answer, they're not going to bullshit you. I don't know. Give me a second. Let me make a phone call real quick. They'll call the next person in line and figure it out. Get right back to you. Like that 100% is the biggest reason why I think what we have stuck and stayed with SolarGuard this entire time is obviously material when it comes to the flat glass, hands down. I've handled all the different films. I've installed a bunch of different, not all of them, but a majority of the manufacturers have installed their films. There ain't nothing wrong with them. But like when it comes down to it, I want my installers to be installing something that's quick, fast, and I know where the quality's at.
Yeah, it's going to last. It's going to make the customer happy.
Yep.
You know, well, I'm that guy that takes, like Slate 20, puts it next to this film, that film, this film, other brands. To see the colors, see the clarity, see the grain.
Yes.
I even have a presentation that I bring in to show when I'm doing sales. But I don't like to say what manufacturer it is. I'm not one to say, I don't like this manufacturer. This one's not good.
This is just competitor. This is just a competing film.
This is just what I use, and this is what I like. And this is part of the reason why. Because look at it.
Yep. Yeah. The optical clarity is crazy. I've actually had customers even tell me that's why they wanted to go with Slate, was because they actually compared it to the other samples that they were left and were like, oh yeah, it was so much more optically clear.
Yep. Oh yeah. Not even just the clarity of the film, but then the liner makes a huge difference too on the way just the entire manufacturer process is just great. Mind-blowing. I love it.
Oh, the amount of technical, I guess, kind of, you'd say bad film or like a bug getting squished into the laminate. Like, I could probably be less than 20 times that we've had something like that happen. Maybe
probably less than that. To be honest with you,
like when they send out their box of film from start to finish, you don't have there is no issue. If there is, they cut it off. They re-roll the whole roll to it being 100 feet of exactly what they want to get out to you, because like no matter what, when it comes down to it, they'll take care of the bad film if you ever do come across that piece. Like, oh, tell me how much it was, and you get a credit back. But like the other manufacturers that we have used to where it's just like blatantly.
Oh, I've had rolls of film and there's a circle in black Sharpie around a bug laminated into the film,
and it's still
they still sent you the roll.
Like,
and you're in the middle of pulling a 4 foot wide by 118 inch tall slider, and you're halfway through the pull, and now you got that. So now you've just junked, 8-10 feet of film.
And if you're not cutting,
and now this would have been the last piece I needed for this job, and that was the end of my roll.
Yeah. What if you had exactly?
I've had that happen, and it's like, and then it's like they can't get you the film for 2 weeks, and it's like,
well, beyond that, like say it's a job that you're not able to cut, say in our shop, because like right now with our setup, what we have been doing over the past like 4 years now is we get the measurements, everything gets cut up here that can be cut up here. Mm-hmm. Say you're on the project and you're pulling that film out, and say the customer's in the house, all of a sudden you're pulling through this long piece, and now you see this big black line with this big circle, and they're like, what's that? Well, now you have to have kind of a slightly uncomfortable conversation with it. Well, it's obviously not going on your window, but it's like, if anything, that's creating doubt. Like even the customer, like, why would the manufacturer send you that then? That makes no sense. Like
if I were a consumer that saw that at my house, I wouldn't be happy.
Oh no, I would definitely, it would instantly put me on alert. Now I'm going to probably look over this job even more than I probably was already going to, because I was in that comfort zone. Because if you create that comfort with that consumer, they see you work, they see the content you're putting out, they watch you start working instantly, that trust is there. majority of the time, if you have that trust with your customer, they just go sit down in the other room. You get the job done. They walk through and they do look at the work, but at the same time, they know what you're putting forward. So they're not really like they're going over it, but they trust you. As soon as you give them any kind of doubt of trust, they are now going to go through that entire job and look for absolutely everything. Yep. And they are going to find stuff. And now you have to explain to them, okay, this is what the industry standard is and all that stuff. Like you're creating an opportunity to have a problem. And it's like, I don't want my consumer at any point to have any doubt in their mind that they're getting top quality at all times.
Nope. You want them to feel comfortable all the time. That's actually something I explain to people when I'm in their home on a sales call. We try to do this as easy for you, comfortable for you. We'll make sure that you get everything that fits your needs, wants, budget. And we want you to feel that you're comfortable with us in our house too, in your house.
I'm the same way. And I feel like that's the number one thing you can do to make it to where you're not competing with the person who's trying to undercut.
Yeah.
Because I've had several bids I've given this year that the customer has straight up told us, you weren't the cheapest. You were actually nowhere near the cheapest, but you made me feel the most comfortable. So we're going with you.
It's all about the knowledge.
Yeah. And that is how you can actually not have to play that game of the race to the bottom and feel like you have to cut your prices. We've actually been able to like increase our prices and people don't even question it because they know what they're getting. They don't want to have to worry about it. They've had other people come into their home and mess stuff up and then they've had to deal with it and had to get it replaced, whether it's paint or whatever. It doesn't even have to be tint that they've had issues with. But if you can come in and let them know, like, we're going to put drop cloths down. We're going to cover your windows. My guys are going to already have the patterns cut. Like, you make them feel comfortable with that customer, that's what they're paying for. Like, they know that the product's going to work and do what it's intended to do. And they're not going to have to babysit you.
And you're going to stand behind it no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely kind of like the big push that we've gone through, at least definitely in this past like year and a half, is we've always held ourselves to like, this is the quality we're putting out, but now we're holding ourselves to like, this is why we charge this. We're like, we are not going to be the cheapest option. I'm going to be 100% upfront with you when it comes to our auto tint or our flat glass film. We are not going to be the cheapest. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm letting you know now. I know I'm not going to be the cheapest, but this is what I provide. This is what I'm going to be able to give you. I'm going to give you the peace of mind that's being done correctly within the industry standards across the board of how it should be installed, putting the correct product on your window. Because even beyond that, we're about 1.5 years, 2 years into actually using the meter on everything. 10 meter, we have two of them. Each sale guys has one. And especially with glass now, because like I'd say late 2000s, early 2000s, you could kind of get away with it because it wasn't so prominent that everything's low E.
Well, everything used to be argon filled.
Yep.
If anything.
Yeah.
Now it's surface 2, surface 3.
And if
we're running into surface 2 and 4.
Really?
Yeah. There's certain Anderson windows that are surface 2 and surface 4. One for the winter, one for the summer.
Oh.
We're not coming across that because I don't think we have as harsh of a winter.
That's true.
We're coming across a lot of all the new builds are all surface to triple silver.
Yeah.
So and then it's I'm not trying to upsell something like highlight because your window's already doing that. And you have to explain that to them and you're actually kind of downselling your more expensive product. But now I'm landing with a slate. Like if you actually do want to increase this window's heat rejection, we need to go a little darker and we need to go full spectrum reflective. And if everybody else that came in just told them what they wanted to hear and still offered them spectrally selective or ceramic, and you're the only one that tested the glass and then explained why those films aren't really going to do much, and now you're offering a product that's going to have a better solution and is probably now a lower price point, who are they going with?
That is so important there. Really, in my opinion, that's exactly what I do. And I think that is so important.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. There's so much glass breakage and seal failure in my area because of the temperature fluctuation.
I can only imagine.
And we have to test the glass. Yeah. And we have to be, I am always straightforward. Like, hey, we have to use this film. We cannot use this film. These are your options.
Yep.
You know, and explain why.
Yeah.
The appreciation of that
100%
is huge.
Oh, totally.
Because most people just want, What's sad is a lot of salespeople don't know what they're really working with.
Yep.
They're just salespeople.
No,
That's
that's
kind of sad.
Yeah,
Well-
that's definitely a huge issue. And
I hope
that-
that kind of gets worked out in this industry.
That's why we're trying to have these conversations, because the more people that can hear these things, the better. Oh, you're good.
you're good. But yeah, no, that's obviously with the setup we have. Our vision is to start building out an academy, and like to begin with, it'll be for converting auto installers to flat glass installers. We think that is the quickest conversion.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
they
then-
already know.
Yeah, they understand the nuances of film, squeegeeing, water, contamination, prep work, why it's important. They understand all that. So converting them into a flat glass installer, I think it'll be pretty seamless, and it'll be relatively easy to come up with a course to convert those guys. And now you go beyond that. And okay, now you have a flat glass installer. All right, now what film do I sell? And then you got to get to the point like, all right, well, this is how I approach my sales. First, you need a glass meter. Meter your glass. As soon as you meter the glass and you ask the customer a couple questions of what are you looking for? Privacy, heat rejection, UV protection, try and protect artwork, your furniture. You answer those questions, and then along with that glass meter, you're pretty much down to about maybe 2 or 3 products. Like everything that you carry, like I'd love to sell you highlight. I'll sell you highlight all day long.
Right.
But when you have triple silver low E on your Surface 2, your window's already doing it.
Yeah,
I'm-
don't need it.
Yeah, I'm just selling you something to make a lot of money, and I'm being dishonest. And you already have the heat rejection without darkening your windows. Like your next step is either blinds, or we can go with a darker dual reflective. We can put like a slate 30 on there. Now we can get you some improvement on this window. We take a little bit of the VLT off, go after more of the spectrum of heat, and that's how we're going to improve that situation. But you have to sacrifice a little light. If you're not willing to sacrifice that light, there's not much I can do here without lying straight to your face or painting a very big gray area and being okay with that, and which I'm not okay with, because again, we're shortchanging our industry. Because the more people that have negative interactions with what we do, we are going to lose more consumers when it comes down to it.
Big time.
And
The other one that I've come across a lot of recently, and mainly commercial buildings, but I've come across it on some homes that have surprised me, is Surface 3 coatings.
Yeah.
Hard coats. And
Yeah.
did you see that Sentinel now has a 10-year?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
Very
a big deal.
excited
So
about that.
anytime I
was
come across
amazing.
the Surface 3 and the people that are bidding against me haven't tested the glass, and I'm like,
Mhm.
we got to go exterior and explain why, and nobody else is even offering that. It's like that
Not realizing
sale,
they're gonna-
it's sold already. It's sold. And it's actually gonna do something. It's gonna hold some heat out, and it's
Big
gonna hold out
time.
more heat. Like DX has been like one of our favorite
awesome.
films.
Yeah.
And especially on
awesome.
commercial, like we did a dentist office recently that it would have been a nightmare to install on the inside, but it was a Surface 3 coating. And now and all they cared about was heat rejection. They didn't care if it was reflective. It was like, well, I can give you like 91% if you go with this one, if you're okay with it being really dark. And I really shouldn't put anything on the inside of these windows. It's going to be dangerous for the windows, and it's going to absorb the heat and just hold it in there.
Make it hot.
It's not going to actually cool off the room. There's nobody going to win that bid against me that isn't explaining that and
Well,
showing that option. Like,
and if they
it's
do-
over.
Correct.
And if they do, unfortunately, that customer's going to end up, a window's going to
Calling
break.
back.
And then you're going to get we're going to get a phone call. Yeah, you were right. And it's like, I just trying to let you know when it comes
Yeah.
down to it. Let's
We
get
just
let's
trying
get
to
it
know.
corrected for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And I love the fact that Saint-Gobain has made that concerted effort over the past couple of years to really push their exterior products and expand that line. I'm
It's
absolutely
important.
loving it. Oh yeah.
And
Having a good exterior.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful too. It looks so
oh
good.
yeah,
It's funny you did a dentist office. I just did a dentist office about a month ago. I've got some crazy videos. We were up on the boom lift,
nice.
way up there, huge wall of glass. Same thing. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
So beautiful.
And then on the installer side too, that's the one thing I've realized, especially on commercial, like having to figure out a time to get in there when they don't have clients in there
Right.
and like organize that.
Oh,
Or I can just schedule it. If it's an east facing window or west facing window, I can schedule it in the time of day that they're not going to be in direct sunlight.
right.
They can show up really early in the morning. If it's west facing, nobody even needs to be there from the business.
Right.
and you can just start working. You don't got to move any furniture. You don't got to work around any employees, any customers. There's no blinds to take down. Like you can get 400 square feet done in probably half the time.
Especially when it's pull
It
gasket.
was like,
That's what they usually are.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yank, drop.
that's like my guy's favorite thing to go on now. And in the past, as an installer, I was always like, man, I don't want to do exterior. It's hot here in Vegas, and that sounds like a nightmare. But now that we've done a ton of it, it's like that's everybody's favorite thing to go on now. It's like, man, that's actually way better.
Yeah.
And intuitively, you would think like, oh, I don't want to deal with exterior film, but no, there ends up being a ton of scenarios where it's far better.
I think it's quite satisfying too.
Yeah.
Especially laying that last piece and then going inside and seeing the.
Yeah.
I do a lot of before and afters and
the response too. We actually had one recently that we did all exterior that was all east facing. It was a salon, and they had two of the clients in the salon that their room by like 9 o'clock in the morning was getting up into the high 80s, and every other room in the building was actually able to stay cool. And she had thermostats in every room onto like an app on her phone, and she could see the temperature rising in those rooms. We went and put film on, and the very next morning, the room stayed in the low 70s. It was like, and she sent me a screenshot of like, it's working. Like,
it's awesome.
Okay, this is awesome. I know it works, and you can feel it work. And I always even have people stand in front of one that's tinted and not tinted to feel it work. But when you can see data like that, and then like, they just spent a lot of money on tinting the whole side of an entire building. And for them to immediately see like, okay, cool. My client's not going to leave now because they were threatening to leave. The room was getting so hot. So that's money that they're going to keep. And now they're saving energy every single day. Like,
we do a lot of restaurants in that way. Like, okay, they call us and we can't seat anybody right here in our busy part of the day because the sun's just cooking them.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's always gratifying. That's the one thing I do love about installing window film is when you're able to provide an instant like fix, like you can feel like this solution's working. Like it's not just like, will this work? I'm not sure if it's gonna work. It's instantly like, here, just stand there.
I still get the awe when I drop a piece of film in direct sunlight and the room just immediately cools off. And you're just like, I'm not sweating anymore. Right. And it's like, hey, come here, come feel this. I'll grab the customer. Like, all right, stand there, stand here. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it was gonna work that good. And that always like, still, I've been doing this my whole life. And that's still like, every time it happens, I'm like, okay. I feel good about what I'm doing.
I tell a lot of my customers that at the end of the day, I've been doing this for so long that what makes me happy, what satisfies me is that when I leave your home, you're happy. You love what I just did. You see, wow, this made a big difference. It looks beautiful. Like the big thank you with the smile is what gets me.
No, I could.
Of course, the check is great, but you know, you know what I mean.
Yeah, but feeling good about what you did, right?
Yeah,
like is a whole nother level to it. Yeah, the money's why we're doing it, but
we've got to feed our families.
But feeling good about what you did compared to, you know,
like, man, I did a good job today. I did all my work right. I pleased all my customers. Yes.
Yep. That's one part that I'm excited to share about this industry to more young people. It's like, hey, this is a great trade to get into. I mean, my entire immediate family, my brother, my sister, my parents, all my kids, all my nieces, nephews, like this industry has provided everything for them. Like everybody's mortgage, car payments, vacations is being provided
by window film.
By window film. And like the more I sit back and think about that, it just makes me so happy. And even like we'll get the whole group of everybody together once a quarter and go to a Knights game or something, and everybody brings their entire family. And now it's like a group of like 30 people, and I'll kind of just sit back and be like,
"That's awesome,
man. This is kind of cool." Like the fact that this thing that our parents started right out of high school, we've been able to like maintain and grow, and now it's not just, you know, dad in a van with us helping at night on the weekends or during the summer.
Yeah, you took
and
it
now
to a
it's
whole
like
nother level.
Now it's, you know, not just the employees and us, it's their families and all the people that have even come through here that have ever worked here, and we've had any part of helping drain, and them, you know, even though they move away and go install somewhere else, or even they're still here in town installing somewhere else. Like I feel good about that.
Yeah. No, that's why I look forward to like the next kind of, I guess, the next journey for us in the industry keep growing our business, but at the same time, pass along knowledge, grow the installer base, because I know if we're having the problem, it's not, and I hear it from numerous dealers constantly. If I had more installers, this summer, what I could have done. If I had more installers, it's always, that's the bottleneck right now is labor, and there isn't that many. Yes, you can go to some of the manufacturers and they'll do hands-on training with flat glass, but being able to create something to where we can have multiple different types of windows, from commercial, side by side, like a regular, like house windows, and then you get small picture frame windows with different edges, eyebrows, half moon windows, French pane windows, like to be able to actually go through more than just here's this one panel. Now you just have to go kind of figure it out on the job training, to where you can actually turn someone around and make them useful, like nowish, not like, all right, so you've been prepping for 2 weeks, or how long have you been getting to this point? All right, now you can start doing these type of windows. And it's like 6 months down the line. Now you have somebody that, if you could have got them in 2 weeks to that point, how much more valuable they would be. Because it is going to get to a point where you can go through all this, installing these windows constantly. You're still going to need to go out into the real world. And you're going to hit those problems where you'll
run into situations, or like where you're on a ladder and where you got to figure out how to get it way up there.
Yeah. Those are the most fun.
Oh, without a doubt, those are always the fun ones. It's like, how are we going to do those? Oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get there. I really need to have a conversation with you guys about a few things sometime. I've got something that is brewing in the pot right now. It's something that's going to be very helpful for our network.
Okay.
It's something I can't really get into huge details about right now because, as I said, it's brewing. It's coming out soon, though.
All right. Well,
See, like, I
let us know when you can.
I love hearing things like that, just because, and I'm hearing it more and more often from multiple different dealers, and it's finally at a point where I think the dealers themselves are getting out of their way and getting rid of that competitive nature, that head-to-head nature that our industry has always had. And I can't tell them, because then they might be my competitor. It's like, yeah, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it the fact, depending on where you're at and what city you're in. Like for us, we are lucky in the fact that there's so much glass in the city that there really isn't competitors. Like I think we probably have over 100 plus shops, and like it's still, I used to think about it as like, oh, we're going to lose this bid to this person. It's like, well, yeah, we might, but at the same time, there's always more.
Never stops.
Yes, just keep growing it, which I know.
And there's different markets too, right? Some people can only afford $100 to tint their car. They're going to go to the $99 spot at the tire store, and then
that's fine for them.
That's not our customer.
Yeah. So, like the difference between somebody that wants to go to McDonald's to lunch compared to a nice fancy restaurant.
Exactly. Exactly.
Everybody has their own taste.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. So, and once you start looking at it like that and realizing like, all right, cool, like this is what we provide, this is what value we can bring, this is where we're priced at. You're either looking for what we're providing or you're not. And okay.
Yeah, if people can't afford what I have to offer, I usually recommend them to somebody that I know that does have that is in a different price range.
Yep. Yeah, that build others up rather than tearing others down is always the answer. I've done that on several. I've done that on several bids.
Tear other people down.
Yeah, I'll recommend other companies. Like I've had people ask me, like, well, if I wasn't using you guys, who would you use? And I'll recommend other shops in town. Like, well, these are the handful of shops that I'd be comfortable sending somebody to.
Yep.
And these guys
go check them out.
Decent job.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, there's a handful. There's more. I'd say probably more than a handful of shops that I would say either I'd absolutely drop my car off, or I'd have them come to my home, tint my home, and I know it'll be done the way it should be done. Within the technical, I guess, industry standards when it comes down to it, and that trustworthy company, I'm going to get what I'm paying for. Especially when it comes like almost cars too, because that's one thing with cars. You could go to a shop that's, oh yeah, we're putting ceramic on. And then they just put on some
whatever
film.
They have in the back.
They got some film in the back.
That's where the end consumer really doesn't understand why there's such a spectrum in pricing.
Man.
And I got out of the military in 2012 and actually worked for American Standard as a sales rep in Dallas for like 4 months. And going around to all the different shops and learning about like all the different off-brand films and stuff people were buying, it like really opened my eyes to like, oh, you can get a roll of film that'll tint 15, 20 cars for $80, or it might cost you $3,000 to $4,000. Like that's the spectrum of qualities of film. Oh, yeah. And the end consumer, I don't think has a clue that that's the difference. And that some difference do, in that material cost difference is huge. Like the amount of, I mean, you're talking less than $5 of material in a car, possibly. Oh yeah. To hundreds of dollars in material cost.
Vortex or something.
And then if you're junking a piece of film and the film costs that much more, which you have to factor in, it's gonna happen because if you want it on perfectly, if my guys have any type of mistake that's happening while they're installing, they're throwing away a possible $100 piece of film on our high-end film.
Well, it's a cost of the film, and then it's that extra piece is opportunity cost also. That piece could have made you another $500 or whatever it is.
Time spent installing that piece. Now they got to spend the time doing it again.
So that's opportunity lost
of bringing another car in, which is absolutely fine because we know where our standard is and that's where it's set. Like every single one of my installers, I'll tell them like, don't try to get something squeezed by. Like if a piece is being scrapped here and there every once in a while, we don't even, I don't
I'd
care.
much rather have that than somebody come back because you tried to get away with something.
It looks so much worse.
Now you're wasting the customer's time, time, and we're still paying for the material. Like,
and then the trust thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh, why is it?
Number one thing you can do to get more reviews is don't let something go out the door that you know shouldn't go out the door.
Yeah.
And if it does and it comes back, bend over backwards to make sure you make that right. Like I've numerous times.
Customer service is at my shop.
I will go. I'll have customers that something will happen and they'll call and they'll be like, I can bring it back. I'm like, I'll look at where they live in the valley. I'm like, do you care if I come to you? They're like, sure. I'm like, yeah, I'll drive to you. There's no reason for you to be driving down to me. This is not on you. This is on my guys. Let me go take a look. I'll go by. I'll take a look at the window to where at least I can try to cut out one trip. So if it's something that I can either take care of right there, I bring all my tools and stuff with me. So if it is something as simple as like a finger got missed and it's literally just a wipe, all right, we're good. Like, and explain to them what happened. And they're as happy as hell about it. The fact they didn't have to come back down to me. I don't have to waste any more of their time. But if it's something that has to be replaced, at least I got rid of the trip of them coming down to where it's like, I'm taking a look at it now. I technically don't have the time to get you in at the moment because I'm not trying to rush through this job. I don't want, like, that's unfortunately probably what got my guys in that position is they felt they got rushed through something, then step got skipped or something got looked over. And I want to make sure we have the appropriate time to take care of this. So I'm going to come take a look at it, see what it is, address the situation. And if it's something that has to be booked, I'm going to find a time slot and I'm going to give you the time slot of I need an hour and a half. I'll have you in, I'll have you out. I'll need you to leave your car. Because again, we already left your car for the majority of the day. Like majority of our appointments, we'll ask them like, if you can drop it off and leave it, like if you're doing a full car with a windshield, we tell everybody 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Does it actually take that long? Probably not. But at the same time, for the initial prep to the quality control to the going over the vehicle, an extra time to make sure everything is exactly where we want it to be. Everything's cleaned up and wiped perfectly. So when you come pick it up, it is good to go. I want that 4 to 5 hours because say if my guy does mess up on a back window, which I've told all my guys, if something goes wrong and it's literally the customer's up front and we just told them their car's done, like I've done this myself. I'm wiping it off with a microfiber and all of a sudden I put a huge scratch in the door or I put a scratch down at the bottom where it's like, would they notice that? I don't know, maybe not. But at the same time, there's no way I'm handing this over to you because I know it's there. Because as soon as you see it, you're gonna be like, you just had my car for 3 to 4 hours and then you give it back to me like this. I was like, I'd rather you pull that off now. I'll go talk to the customer and let them know, hey, your vehicle was done. We're wiping it down. We put a scratch in the door. We're pulling it in right now. Give me about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna make sure it gets done. I can't let that go out in my shop. 9 times out of 10, and probably even higher than that, that customer, I just gained even more trust with them in the fact that I'm looking out, like I'm not going to allow that to go out in the front of my store.
Straight up honest with them too. You just made a minor mistake. You're going to fix it.
Yep. Keep that communication.
Is huge.
Yeah.
In this industry.
And those end up being the customers that trust you the most and bring back the most referrals and get like, the person that you have the occasional, like, damn, that's, we messed something up. But if you immediately take care of it and make it very clear that like we're going to take care of this, and you do that, you build even more trust.
Yep.
Like you don't want that to happen, but when it does happen, if you do handle it that way and you take care of it,
all the cars technically, or even on houses too, where we've had something go wrong, where instantly I'm calling the customer and letting them know, hey, this is what just happened. It's going to be taken care of. This is how it happened. Going through the whole situation. Yes, at that moment, it may have cost the company some money, but the referral work that I get from that customer, if not the return work I get from that customer, is now tenfold almost when it comes down to it, because they realize how much you went above and beyond to make sure that you're always going to take care of them. Yep. That when it comes down to it, yes, they might be like, what's the warranty like? What's this? They don't necessarily worry about that anymore, because they're like, I trust you. I know when it comes down to it, you're going to take care of the situation no matter what. And absolutely. That's like the first thing I tell any customer is that if anything happens, we are going to take care of it. Doesn't matter what the cost is or anything. Like we had Dodge Ram doors where it was the weirdest thing. We cover it. Nope, wasn't swelling. It was discoloration on the leather, and it was about a 1/2 inch only on the front 2 doors. We did his entire car. My guys did, and I'm pretty sure one guy just at the top of the door panel, right next to the rubber. So like the 1/2 inch closest to the window, it like discolored just white. Only
was it covered? Like, did you have a
they
panel protector on it?
They covered these ones.
And was it where? Like what caused? Did you ever figure out what caused it?
I couldn't figure it out, but I think obviously moisture got on top of it. It sat on it, but
wiped the dye out.
It's something like that, because even the back doors were done the same way. Nothing. And I told the customer, I'm like, honestly, I'm not sure what caused this, but it's going to be taken care of. Yeah. We ended up getting a hold of the manufacturer. I ended up finding out what, because I told him like worst case scenario, because he just bought the truck. It's a brand new, I think it was 2,500. Like it's a 6-figure truck. And I guess this is his baby. And like I was like, dude,
things are beautiful.
Oh, I was like, dude, I understand. I was like, worst case scenario, what's gonna happen is I'm replacing your door panels. I was like, let me contact a couple of detailers that I know and make a few phone calls, and I think I can get this taken care of. We ended up calling the dealer. I got the prices for the door, and I was about to go that route. And they recommended they have someone who comes in who takes care of their interior on all their vehicles, either being used or new ones, where if something's defected. I was able to set up to where they came to my shop as he's had to drop his car off. They came in the morning. To be honest, I'm not even sure what they did to the doors, but when I got back and looked at them, they looked brand new. And the customer was over the top excited. And like he'd used us in the past, but like opening that line of communication with them, letting them know like right off the bat, like, dude, no matter what, worst case, I'm putting new door panels on here for you. This is your brand new truck. I understand that, and know that no matter what, that will happen if you're not happy with this fix. I'm not going to let something go out that's like, well, it's 95% fixed. Like, no, it needs to be not seen. This is a brand new truck.
It needs to come in how it was when you brought it in.
Exactly. Yeah. And after that, he was like, do you do old school cars? He has a 65 Impala that he's finishing up on the shop right now. And I was like, I will tint that personally because I like cars like that. It's fun for me to like, I don't install that much anymore, but like that's a project that I want to be a part of. And then I'm going to get an obscene amount of content when I do it.
Oh yeah. I love classics.
Yeah. They're fun.
Classics and extreme exotics. Yeah. All over it.
Those make my skin crawl a little bit, only with extreme we do the extreme classics. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better with them. But like I remember when I did my first we tinted a McLaren. It was 720S McLaren. Yeah. Beautiful. And then he had us do when you get in it, pretty much the kick panels when you get in, they're like it's carbon fiber.
Yeah.
We pulled those out and we put clear bra on them. Yep. And we had to put 2 seam. I explained to him like how it was shaped. I was like, I might be able to get there in one piece, man, but like you want this to last, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I gotta put seams in this. I put seams in the rolling spots in it, seamed it together. Couldn't even see it at all. And that was a fun project, but to say that I wasn't stressed while doing it would be an utter lie. Only because it's like I literally Googled the car. I'm like, oh, all right, guys.
That much. Yeah.
I was like, we have a new high value vehicle that we've ever touched now. It's like we just crossed that threshold again. Like I'm looking at everyone 5 feet away from the car, guys. Walk a big circle around this thing. This thing's got to go out perfect, guys.
Last time I had a Bugatti in my shop.
Oh my God.
I was a little bit. I was very nervous. Because even just that windshield on the Veyron, $220,000. I looked at all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You got
well,
you
you
have
got
to.
to.
To
You-
see,
yeah, you need to know.
you know, is that, yeah,
I've only had
a
to
lot of
one.
care has to go into that.
Oh yeah, I've only had to once ask a customer technically what the vehicle cost, because at the time I knew what value of material we had in the shop with our vans, our equipment, and at the time we also had another an older Rolls-Royce Phantom in the shop at the same time being left in the shop overnight.
Yeah.
She was dropping off a brand new Ghost black like limited edition Rolls-Royce for us to wrap for her, and I was like I have a feeling I know where the price point is on this vehicle, but I'm only asking because I need to know just to make sure if I need to bump up my insurance overnight, because I need to make sure that whatever's in my shop, if for some reason my shop burns to the ground,
Right.
everything could be
You're covered.
replaced. And then she told me, I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
But it's like an uncomfortable question, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like it's going to be 100% safe in my shop. But at the same time, with other value things I have in my shop at the moment, we might be crossing a threshold at the that it will be higher than where I'm comfortable. And I want to make sure that my insurance is, if I have to bump it up for a week, we're going to bump it up for a week for what we got in our shop.
Yeah, right.
Without it, I couldn't imagine working on a Bugatti though. Like that Rolls Royce was that thing. Well, that thing was making me sweat because that was like the next vehicle that surpassed the McLaren. And I was just like,
Those things. Did it have? Well, they all have the umbrella.
Yeah.
and the door.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They
It
all
even
have
had
the-
the starry roof on the
Yeah,
inside.
it was the Phantom.
yeah. Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Those
Yeah.
are just so
Yeah.
beautiful.
It was a gorgeous car. It
It
was
has
a fun.
the butterfly
Yeah,
doors
yeah,
on that
yeah,
baby.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bugatti was yeah, it was in the shop for a week.
I would.
It got full paint protection,
Wow.
window film.
Nice.
everything.
That's the
That's
fun
awesome.
part of the auto side of the business, because I pretty much only deal with the flat glass side now. I do kind of miss being here for that kind of stuff. Although when we do have something like that in here, I definitely come check it out.
Oh
But
yeah, you got
working
to.
on them was stressful, but it was always fun because when you're done, you're like, and I tinted
Yeah.
a Phantom.
Well, let alone it's like,
Well,
I got to
cars
pull it
like
around.
that.
Yes.
right?
I'm never going to get to drive this thing ever.
You know what? I put booties on my shoes, covered everything. I put those plastic seat covers and everything.
I wrapped everything in microfiber towels.
I do that with the exotics.
Yeah,
With a lot of cars, period.
Yeah.
No, taking that extra step too. And then when they see those extra steps being taken in your content too, that's just that little added tidbit that shows like we are taking care of everything
Yep.
at all times, making sure we're taking every proper step to make sure that we don't ruin any of your vehicles. Or even when it comes to houses too. Houses, like every time I've had to go on a sales, I went on a sales for house, I tell them, all right, the next step's going to be, you say yes. What's going to happen is your entire job is going to be cut up at the shop. We'll pick out the shades. Everything will be cut up at the shop. When my guys show up, they're going to lay everything out in a neat corner. And then they're going to lay out their pads in front of every workstation or every window they walk up to. It's going to be a pad laid out. And then every seal is going to have microfibers laid all the way across.
Yep.
There is going to be mist. If mist does get anything, it gets wiped off instantly. It's just water with a little bit of soap in it. And then we take every precaution we possibly can to make sure we are taking everything out of the way that could cause damage, to where if something does happen, it's a freak accident. It's going to happen. You can't avoid it completely. That's one thing I definitely have noticed. Like, you can take all the precautions you want, but at the same time, stuff happens. But again, always making sure they know that you're going to be there to take care of it no matter what. And they're like, hey, shit happens. It is what it is. I thank you for taking care of it. I appreciate it. It's like, well, yeah, of course.
Certain things like, say, every time you got to move a baby grand piano,
Yeah.
it does take it out of tune a little bit. Some people are very serious about all that.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I found that out the hard way like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I always make sure if we're moving your baby grand, you may need to do a tune up afterwards, retune.
Never even thought of that. But it's one of those things. Like, as soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, that makes complete sense.
So
Especially
we
moving
even
something.
just do we use the little mini movers,
Yeah.
with sliders underneath it, lift in the corners, shove it under, lift the corner, shove it
Yeah.
under, and slide. But still, that lift
Yeah.
throws it off.
Yeah. You can prepare for almost everything, but yeah, every now and then you're going to come across something you never come across. We're doing one that we actually a weird one that we had a subcontractor with us on, and it was the drummer for a really big band. His house is just covered in all kinds of awards and just all kinds of stuff, that goes into one of the offices and slides a chair over, that didn't notice that there was a lamp sitting on the ground right next to it. And it's all glass, and it tipped it over and broke it. And it was just like,
Yeah.
and it looked crazy custom, like irreplaceable. And it was just like,
Oh no.
what just happened? Like, it was like, yeah, freak stuff like that. And luckily they were totally cool.
Be
and
honest.
we offered to replace it. And they actually were like, nah, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And I was like, we will replace whatever it is, you know? And it wasn't a big deal, but it's like stuff like that is, you can almost not, you can't prepare for stuff like that. It doesn't happen often, but it's, you do enough
Well, we're all
jobs.
humans,
Yeah.
and like you're saying,
Yeah.
we do enough.
Yeah. But you know what the common problems are you've had in the past. That's where experience really comes in.
Right.
Knowing, you know, like
Right.
the piano tip. You've
Yeah.
come across that. Now you know. A lot of people that haven't come across that yet, hopefully they hear this and they know that
They
now they
realize
can.
that.
And setting that expectation with the customer is huge. Like you set that expectation up front rather
Yeah.
than moving it,
Just let
not
them know.
knowing. And they're like, hey, what's wrong with my piano?
Right.
That's,
Why do I need it retuned? Why does it sound
yeah.
different?
And
I always tell people when I see paint that's not done correct in like a
Oh,
brand
yeah.
new home, I always go over all that.
yep.
With
That's
frame.
what that's become a huge habit with us. Anything
Oh, yeah.
anywhere near the window or the window itself now, because a lot of these new homes, they're putting glass in that's already damaged. Our guys
Oh,
know
bad.
before they touch the window, if they notice anything,
Yeah.
we need to take a picture of
Picture.
it. It goes into Tint Wiz. You need to
Yep.
tell the customer, address it with the customer, especially in a new home. If we see damaged glass, we tell the customer immediately and let them know, like, hey, if you're going to have the builder replace this window, we're not going to tint it right now. You need to tell the builder, have them replace it. We'll come back out and we'll install it later. Unfortunately, that's been happening a lot. In the last 4 years, it seems like the defects in glass have gone
Especially
through the
with
roof. Used to never come across it. Now it's all the
It's
time.
getting really bad.
Yeah.
You know what I had happen not so long ago? I've seen this before. It's been so long. That's why this last time I knew exactly what was going on. It was a new home, new build. The house settled really, really fast. We tinted every window in the whole house. Probably 40, 50 windows. I don't remember. One window cracked. We replaced it, refilmed it. After my installer walked out of the door, I get a phone call. It cracked again. Okay, that's not the film. Okay, that is a defect in the glass. That glass has been pressed in the frame, or there was a little tiny
Mm-hmm. Like-
bolt or nail head that's against the
Yeah.
glass.
Yep.
Because I had that happen years ago on a big 6 foot by 6 foot window, like 15 foot up.
Oh
And
no.
it cost me a lot to keep, replaced again. Okay, third time, I'm coming out to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And figured it out like that. And
Nah.
if I ever see that happen again in my area, I know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely more likely with all the new builds. We've been putting a lot of turf protection film up, and
Yeah,
what
we do too.
where we've been getting the cracks, and it's usually always new builds.
Mm-hmm.
And like now we've gotten to the point we've had more than what we've ever had before. I was told next time one of those breaks, go out when your glass guy's going. Tell me what the edge of the glass looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Is it unfinished? Because if it's an unfinished piece of glass, it's not polished off at all. Any little nick in the side of that piece of glass, have a defective piece of glass that we're never going to see go in, especially with how homes are being built right now in Vegas. They're kind of being thrown up. Like they're still like a 9-month build, but still they are building so much that unfortunately all the traits and all the labor is run so thin. They're
Yeah.
just running and gunning, just throwing things like we have a
Same in my
timeline. We
area.
got to get it done. And like I said, majority of almost all the breaks are all new builds. As soon as we get it replaced, get the glass on or get the tint back on, good. And it's like this shows me that. And none of the breaks are showing thermal breaks, so it's not. And
Yeah.
and none of the windows have half shadow. Like we take the pictures beforehand. We see
Yeah.
if there is going to be shadows casted onto the window itself that can cause that. And it's like,
Which that's something I don't think a lot of people know about. I didn't know about that for the longest time.
Shading.
yep.
Yeah, like if
Uneven shading.
and like that's a huge thing to know. Like, hey, that's gonna cause an issue regardless if the film's approved or not. Like
Big
that could be a big issue.
especially if it's like a trapezoid window or
Yep.
something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
that's worst case right there. You get when you break a odd shaped piece of glass to get that thing replaced over and over again. Oh no! And the cost of glass now that's one thing I didn't get to bring up at the panorama meeting that I wanted to.
Yeah.
It was, are we going to see an increase in the glass breakage coverage? Because it's been if you're a premier panorama dealer and all that, 1650, 1750 something.
1750.
1750.
Yeah.
Glass is not what it used to cost 4 years ago.
Oh.
I remember buying a 3x5 for like $200-$300.
Easy all day long.
Now it's like $600.
Yeah.
And it's like the guy we have too. It's like that's the other thing we've had a problem with is finding a glass company that will service in a timely manner and that will take the onesie and twosie things, which I understand because even for us, we have a minimum when it comes down to it, one
Right.
panel and stuff like that. So like I get it, but we finally have found a guy. He's a great price, does great work, shows up. We call him. He reaches out to our customers in a timely manner. So we finally have found a guy, but still, even with him, like I'm getting back prices for like a regular 3x5 and it's like $500-$600. I'm just like, I do not remember this at all. Like I can only imagine what some big, actually we just had one where they were 4x8.
90
Four-
something.
Yeah, 4x8, 4x9s. We replaced 4 of them. And then at the time, our glass guy asked, do you want to switch to temper? And we're like, no, probably just it's new building, same thing, new build again. We're like, no, just probably build again. That's when we actually realized that one of them we screwed up. We didn't see the shadow being cast by a pillar that was sitting out far. And
that did it.
Yep. So 2 of them broke again. 2 of them were probably defective because those didn't break again. The other 2 broke. And that's when we looked in the photos and we're looking like, oh, look at the shadow being casted. Those we replaced with tempered glass. Ended up being just good to go, which is like, he even asked us too, you just want to put tempered in? We're like, no, annealed's fine. He's like, it was like a $100 difference. Like, so after they broke again, I was like, we should have just paid for the temp. We should. And now we know too. It's like, oh, how much more for the tempered? Just put the tempered in.
Just do it.
Just put the tempered in. Let's just solve the problem like right off the bat and not have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, those pieces were $1,500 a piece. And it was just
I
like,
believe it.
it was like, oh,
Think
my
about
God.
it. They were on upper level. Too.
Oh, I could only
You got to get a boom lift out or something like that.
Yeah. No, luckily they were ground level. So
Yeah.
no.
We got lucky.
Yeah. That type of stuff stressed me out. But that's again a reason why you have to meter glass. Like
It's so important. So
Yeah.
important. I was just reading something in one of the forums the other day. Somebody was talking about how to use their meter, and people were like, just do the lighter trick. No, let's use the meter.
Yeah.
The lighter is not always, you don't know exactly what you're getting into with that. There's so many more aspects you need to know other than just the surface that the low-E coating is on.
Yeah, 100%. The glass is getting too crazy.
Yeah. Some of these we have some really nice homes going up that are, like I said, they're getting these Surface 2 and Surface 4
Yeah, that's scary.
glass going up.
That's crazy. So that is the only thing you have there is exterior.
No, exterior. Well, yeah.
Yeah, because
really?
you,
Yeah.
you can't scrape the inside.
Yeah, it has to be exterior.
It's not a,
And then
Yeah.
that's
It's
even
not an
limited what you
easy
can even put.
situation.
Yeah, it's even limited what you can even put on that window now.
Yeah.
That's where
I'm-
Miguel comes in.
Yeah.
That's
Well, that's when I called John.
yeah.
Yep.
Me and
Yeah.
John Mitchell, I
Yeah.
call him so much, not so much, but when I need some information or just when I want to brainstorm about something, like, hey, how do you think I can, manage this? Or I'm trying to figure out how to get this done. He always throws out something amazing. Let me tell you one thing about John Mitchell. I see him every couple months. I learn something from him every single time. And I've been doing this for a long time. I think I know a pretty decent amount, but
Oh,
goodness,
he-
the knowledge.
That's the thing that frustrates me about people that have only been in the industry for a couple of years and think they know it all and have like big egos. Is like, man, I grew up in a window tint shop,
Yeah.
and I'm learning things all the time from
Yeah.
people like John, from Miguel. Like I bug the crap out of Miguel. Like, and he never
Miguel's
seems
awesome,
he's
especially the beard.
he's always like awesome
Oh,
at
the
responding, and he doesn't make me feel like I'm bugging him, but I call him so much that I'm like, man, sorry for bugging you. He's like, no, man, this is what I do.
Yeah.
But there's levels to knowledge in this industry, and those guys,
Big time.
for the technical aspect of knowing what film can go on what glass and their ability to run simulations. And we just had a big commercial project that I had to put a bunch of mock-ups on, and it was a very unique project and unique glass that the wrong glass was installed in the building. And it's like having to run simulations on what's going to work. And it was actually surprising to me, like Highlight 25 actually got approved.
Wow.
They didn't need to go that route because they ended up being okay with going with a dark slate. But I was actually shocked that was approved.
I like Highlight 25.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. They didn't like the price at the end of the day, and they were okay with the little bit of added reflectivity of the slate, and that's what they went with. But it was like knowing that, like, hey, we've got the warranty covered, we've got all the extra steps handled, and you're talking about 11,000 square feet of glass, like going out and just winging that and just taking on that liability, you're out of business. Yeah. Like you're bankrupt.
Like, messing up on that destroys you.
That's something that I actually had an issue with in my early years with Metro Tint. You know, I was with a different manufacturer, you know, a big name. I had a huge project. It was $160,000, $160,000 project, and that was back in the day, back in
that's a monster.
Like 2003 or 4.
That's a monster.
Where the film, I think I charged $6 a square or something like that, plus boom lift charges.
Yeah.
Okay, it was supposed to have, you know, a 10-year warranty. Well, after about 2 years, it started to show banding from the exterior. It started to bubble up. Well, they didn't cover it. And who does this company look at really at the end of the day? They look at Metro Tint. So what did I do? I ate that. I removed and replaced it.
Wow.
I removed and replaced it with a different manufacturer. And a few things like that have happened to me over the years are a big reason why I moved to SolarGuard. Really.
The one thing I could say, we got lucky in the fact that we've been partnering with SolarGuard this entire time, so we haven't really been exposed to any other manufacturer where like it wasn't necessarily taken care of. Even when
we had a little phase in like 2008 to 10.
Well, we had
some other film that necessarily didn't get warranted.
We had some auto film that it's what manufacturer where we were using them. It was 07, 08 after the crash. It was definitely opened up the borders to where manufacturers didn't really care what you sold because they were just happy they were buying film from them. So it was like, we understand you got to make ends meet. Like, I have to buy this over here because I'm just trying to keep my doors open and keep my family fed. We had that manufacturer for probably 3 or 4 years, and then we started getting warranties back from some of the cars we were doing, but then we were getting warranties from like out of state where that person's bringing in their full-fledged warranty from, California, and we're like, we'll submit that one, and they're like, oh no, for what you guys buy your film for, we can't warranty, we can't carry those warranties. We're like, okay. We stopped selling the film instantly, and it's like we still get those warranties that will come in from our customers. Every time one of those come in, we still do the same process. We take a photocopy, which the process for the consumer doesn't know, like, I'm just replacing that film. There's no chance I'm going to tell you like we stopped using this manufacturer, they're not backing it. No, what I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm upgrading you I'm switching to this manufacturer. You're going to get a new warranty through them. And then we end up we switch it to SolarGuard. Or at the time when we were a 3M Pro Shop, we switched it to 3M. It's the same thing. We switched it. We just like, you're going to get this product now. We just stopped carrying that product. We conflict of interest, but we're standing behind the warranty, replace the car, put the new film on. And a lot of times too, at that time, they'll be what they purchased back then to where it's like, well, you can put this product back on, but hey, are you interested in, say, the ceramic film? Because at the time, like maybe it was, I know actually it wasn't an option. Yeah. So it's like, we have this option now. And then we end up upgrading them for a small fee to where it ends up, we end up kind of covering our material, paying our guy, and then we end up taking care of the customer, stripping it for free, taking the whole film off, and then giving them a small little fee. They get upgraded to ceramic. And then a lot of times what they do is like, you know, I've never thought about doing my windshield, and they add their windshield to it. And now, because we took care of that customer, we just gained a bunch more business from them. But the same thing, it's just one of those things. Like we did this job, it's going to get taken care of. Like a manufacturer stand behind it or not, it's got to get taken care of.
Valley's taken care of.
Yeah, exactly.
Same way. That's what I tell all my customers too.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you know, Metro Tint's got you no matter what.
Yep.
You know, I even take care of people. I give no faults on a lot of things. You scratch a window or something, take care of your dog scratches a window, call me.
No, we definitely we've entertained maybe adding a no fault warranty, but now it's even at a point now because we've readdressed our prices and kind of we went through probably about a 10-year period where we were kind of increasing prices, but not really. So we were really undervaluing ourselves and our business. And we finally kind of corrected it over this past year where we actually put like pretty significant price changes, but also to reflect the material that we're purchasing and also the quality you're getting to where it's at a point now where how often does it really happen? Hardly ever. So why not just say, hey, that's just, you get a one time no matter what. If something happens, just come in and just give that added value to the customer because how many of those customers are we actually going to see come back in? Majority of the time, especially with cars, it's going to be a front door.
Seatbelt.
Yeah, seatbelt.
Seatbelt.
It's not going to be it'll be something very small, minimal. And then once in a while, windshield and even the back window, which is probably going to be hardly ever. Just take care of it. If it is, it'll be less than 1% of the customers for the entire year. But when that you take care of that one customer, how they talk about you, it just paid for itself tenfold when it comes down to it.
So many more referrals and customers out of just that little bit of customer service right there.
Yep.
And that makes sense to me why you're able to be fully organic because the way just talking to you, just this little bit we've been talking, like operating that way, your referral base and your repeat customers has to be through the roof. I know when I'm looking at ours, it's still like even with running ads and doing more content, we're still sitting at like 50% of our business every month is repeat or referral. And when you have that, it makes it to where, you know, your marketing budget can be whatever you want. You could spend or you don't even have to, depending on how many installers you're trying to keep busy. So it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I could pull up my Tint Whiz for next week when I get back, and I could tell you probably next week. I know most are repeat customers.
Yeah,
I know we've got 2 full PPF wraps that are just I've done for this one gentleman, Brandon. I've done like 5 of his cars in the past like 2 years.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people like that.
Yeah, that's the best.
And then customers. Oh, my automotive customers turn into residential customers. Because we have displays in the shop, you know, like you walk in, like, oh, you do this? You can do this on the house. Like we were talking about earlier, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and they see the videos and then they come into the shop and they see the displays and they're like, oh.
Yeah, no.
Ooh.
That's what makes sense to me for if you're already out there, you're doing auto and you're entertaining the idea of getting into flat, like you don't even have to spend money on marketing to begin with. You've got a customer base that you can already reach out to. Yeah. You can already inform them when they come in the door that this is just an extra service that you can provide to them. And if they just had some heat rejection film put on their car and they felt the difference and they liked the quality of work, entertaining that idea with them that, hey, you have a hot spot in your house that, you know, we can help there too. I didn't even know that. So you don't even got to spend any money marketing to begin with. You literally, you have the customer already there.
Just open your mouth.
And now you've got a whole extra line of revenue coming into your business. Like that's where I feel like, especially because that's how our dad started doing flat glass early, but auto was the predominant side of the business.
Oh, he loved cars.
But then you start realizing the opportunities in flat glass and you start realizing the money that can be made
That's
there.
where your money is in this industry.
Yes.
Flat glass.
But having the two together, like we've always said, like if I was going to go move somewhere else and start something from scratch ever again, I'm turning on a website, social media. I'm not going to have a storefront and I'm only going to do flat glass because you just don't have all the other headache. But if you already have the auto shop and you have the clientele and you've got the installers and systems in place to do cars, it's the perfect pipeline to feed the flat glass side.
Yep. It sure is.
So
do you guys ever use any architectural films on cars? Like say a Tesla Model Y roof?
I've seen a couple pieces of content recently. I think one of them was even Carlos of putting like some decorative on the moonroof
Oh, really?
that like looked
saw it.
crazy cool.
I saw
Like
that.
it almost made it look like a painting on a cathedral type of decorative where it was like, oh, that is sick. It's awesome content and it's super custom. Like that's actually like a really cool idea. But we haven't really specifically done anything like that. But I've been seeing it. What have you done?
So I do it for the pure performance of it. So like, imagine the roof on a Model Y. Okay, if you put a 20%, say you put Vortex 25 on there, the heat gain, it actually makes it a little warmer.
Mhm.
So I use Slate 20.
Oh, so it's reflective. It doesn't matter if it's reflective because it's
Yeah,
on
you
the
don't see
moon.
it.
Well,
Oh.
and that window's so
Yeah.
damn dark, you're not going to see any reflection on
Yeah.
the opposite side,
No, you
literally
don't see it
ever.
from the
Oh,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
It works.
It shrinks?
Oh yeah, it shrinks. Oh yeah, it shrinks. I put silver 20. I put silver 20 on an old Ford Taurus, like I don't know, a year ago. I'll never forget. It was not easy, but I don't know if you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it all shrinks. It's all, and if you think about it, it's made the same way. You just have to
Yeah.
be careful with the metal, not to ghost it.
Yeah.
So I saw something recently as it came through, I think, as an ad on Instagram. And I'm not sure of the quality of the product and I've never heard of it before, but somebody's promoting a PPF that is tinted and supposedly solar control that you can put on the moon roofs of like a Y or something like that. One of them big moon roofs that supposedly is getting good solar control and you can install really quick because you just
it's
install
a CPU or
Yeah.
a KPU. Yeah, I've
Have
seen
you
a lot
seen
of
or
that.
played with any of that? Because I've been seeing it and we haven't messed with it at all.
I have. I get a lot of people send stuff like, please use our stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'll try it. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's you.
I'm
You
really
really
skeptical
send
on
me a
any of
sample.
these like off brands.
I don't. Well, they all come from. You probably know where they all come from.
Yeah.
So I have tried a few and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like how it looks.
Yeah.
From the after install, like you can see it. You know, if you look.
Yeah.
It
It's a cool
works.
gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
at the end of the
yeah,
day,
yeah.
it's something.
Clarity's not there.
Well,
And
it loses it
Yeah.
after you take it through a couple washes. You're done.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're done. It's scratchy, hazy. Same with like windshield protection film. You know, nothing against windshield protection film. I see its place, but you know that stuff gets.
That's where we've been
Aged
kind of
up.
we've been kind of reluctant of even tapping into that market. Like there are vehicles that say it makes sense for, like that Bugatti.
That's what
That
exotics
that makes sense.
that are garage queens.
Yeah.
You ceramic coat it afterwards. Good to go.
Yeah. But if you just have like, and I know windshields have gotten more pricier, like same thing, like windshield used to replace your windshield used to be like, $250, $300. Now they all got the sensors and all stuff in them.
$1,500, yeah.
And they climb up there. Like
Yeah.
a standard vehicle is $600,
Yeah.
$700.
Our
You
first
get
time
the
ever using
Teslas
Clearplex was a decade ago. Like,
on a Honda Fit.
but back then it didn't make sense on most windshields. And the vehicles that
No,
got
it did
used
not.
on the most was actually for Terry for the Transformers movies.
Yeah.
They put it on a bunch of Puganis and Bugattis for Transformers.
But they kept
Because
dropping
they
shit
were-
on the windshield.
They were
though.
racing them through like dirt and they were hitting rocks up and breaking those windshields.
Yeah.
That
$200,000
made
windshield.
sense back then.
Yeah.
But back then on a regular vehicle, it's like I can't justify the price we have to charge to do this and how quickly it's going to go bad.
Yeah.
You could just replace the windshield for cheaper.
Yep.
That's exactly what I say to
Yeah.
customers that request it. Like right what you said.
Yeah. But now there are a handful of windshields that it does make more sense. The thing I'm interested in, what was the stuff that we played around with at Tinner Battles?
Windshield skin.
Yeah, so it's like a
That's
little bit
from,
better of a price
EDP.
point. They
Yeah.
know it's only going to last
Right.
about a year.
Yeah.
But the material's at a price point where you could actually do some type of service package
Well,
with the customer
yeah.
that this needs to be replaced annually and
Yeah.
like
But
and-
still has
and
to be
you
the
can
right
install
vehicle,
it in
though.
10 minutes.
It's still got to be a vehicle.
Yeah.
Your windshield's got to be around. You got to be almost $1,500, $2,000 windshield, or $1,500 to $2,000
Yeah.
windshield. Then it's like, okay, that makes sense. Where like, how are you driving it? Where are you driving to? Are you more susceptible to rock chips? Okay, then it's going to kind of make sense. But if it's your regular everyday driver,
Yeah.
a Toyota Highlander,
those-
like just
The wipers,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
tear it up.
yeah, that's why, especially for us being in a desert. So that's
Yeah, the dust.
Yeah.
The sand.
if you're not cleaning off your windshield constantly, if you're not going to be that on top of your vehicle, like it's gonna go bad too fast, and it's just not going to make sense. You're better off throwing the dice and hoping for the best that you don't get a rock chip.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. The odds are in your favor just not to do it when it comes down to it cost wise.
Have you played around with any type of so one of the things I've been wanting to play around in my house is I've got a glass shower door in my shower that like we're not the best at squeegeeing off, so it's got hard water all over it. I've been considering playing around with like maybe like some active or hydro or something that already has a coating on it, or even maybe putting some film on and then ceramic coating the film so that I'm not messing with the coating on the glass. Like, have you done anything like that?
A whole lot of different
Okay,
things.
what are you doing?
So, my wife loves PPF. Just puts it on everything. She'd have it on this table, right? So, yeah, all my showers have glass. They have PPF. They have Clear Shield Proactive on it.
Okay.
And it actually does. It keeps the hydrophobicity for a long time. Like, that is one good way that I've been able to properly test that.
Do it on
material
your home. Yeah.
in my home.
Yeah.
Not only on my cars, but yeah. So I've done a lot of that. I've done films, and yes, so I do a lot of smart film.
Okay.
I have mixed feelings about it. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in it. Everybody wants it because it's promoted on TikTok so much.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go out on a sales call for it, and they just want it. Oh, I saw this on a cruise ship. I saw it on TikTok. I want this, please. Like, okay, I can offer it to you. It's $125 a square foot, no warranty, or I can give you a regular frost film for $10 a square foot with a lifetime warranty. You know, but
yeah.
people will go for that smart film like crazy, but
Yeah.
it is hazy no matter what
Yep.
anybody tells you. I don't care what. I've done it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on interior windows, like in your bathroom.
Yep.
Okay. If you don't seal the edges with Dowsil, like a low pH
Yep.
silicone,
Yep.
its water infiltration is going to come in. It's going to change color.
Yeah.
If you have it on an exterior window and you don't put an exterior solar control film to protect it, it's going to bubble up in a year.
Yeah. So
And it just turns so hazy.
we've done a bunch of installing of it, but it's been coming from a home automation security company
Yeah.
that they sell it, and they just have us come and lay the film and put the silicone around the edge, and then they deal with everything else.
They hide the wires and everything.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
they
it's
do
like
all
we
that.
haven't wanted to deal with selling it for that purpose. Like, it's such a rare customer that's willing to spend that kind of money, especially without having that kind of. And it's been on really nice big homes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, when it's turned, it does look cool on video. But when you are there in person, you definitely see the haziness when it's not switched on.
And you can see the flicker too.
Yeah.
Like, if you look, like people like us, you'd
Yeah.
see it. It'd drive me crazy.
Yeah.
If I had to look through that.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've done some pretty neat installs with it. Where, like, this one office building, it was a setup where it was like a U of glass circles or glass cubicles, and we did smart film on all of them, and we put logos in them, and they moved, and we put the employee's name embedded in each one.
That's cool.
It was beautiful, but
Yeah.
still smart film. But
Yeah.
more power to whoever's gonna go
Yeah.
out and sell it and use it. Just
Well, it's-
it's not really my cup of tea.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it's
mine
probably
either.
still like 5-10 years away from having something that's like a rock solid product that
That's
might
what
actually
I
have a
keep
warranty.
saying to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I tell people to wait. Like, it's being improved. There's PDLC. It's what's being put up right now. PNLC is the newer one. Like, a lot of people don't. You guys probably know this, but when it's clear, it's on.
Yep.
Yep.
PDLC. PNLC, opposite.
Ah.
It's clear when it's off.
That makes more sense.
'Cause most people have it clear most of the time.
Yeah.
That's what's
So
one
it's-
thing that's always never made like why would you want it to where you have to keep it powered constant? Because now it's just on constantly. Something on constantly
Yeah.
is obviously going to break down,
Yeah, it's going to fail quicker.
fail much quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
So it's getting there.
That's cool. I didn't even know that option was coming. That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I've
Yeah.
tried it.
Yeah.
And the clarity is a little better, but
Still hazy.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not hazy from the beginning, it gets hazy in a few months.
Yeah.
It's crazy that I've even seen some ads. This is probably some other gimmicky stuff out of China that where it's like you can display any kind of image you want on it. It's not just going to frost. It's
LED
literally
screen pretty much.
makes the entire storefront a monitor, and it's some type of film that goes on there. And it's like I'm sure that's just as unreliable.
I've tried it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not there.
Yeah, see, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like
You can tell by
No
looking at the
thanks.
video of it, it's not there yet, but it seems promising.
It looks really cool on a video, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to like us installing it and then making it work and then seeing it and being like, "Oh, it looks good from 20 feet away.
yeah.
Don't know how long it's going to function.
Yeah. This is what the price point is. Also,
Yeah.
it might last. It might look good. Have a nice day. Like, nah, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
that's been my biggest thing is like the logistics of doing it, the getting electricity to it and all that stuff. And then also how long is the product going to last, setting that expectation with the customer. And then also then giving them, yeah, it's $125 a square foot. Cause I've had people ask like, I have this one window in my shower and like, I throw a price at them like for one window. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, about $3,500.
yeah. It's like, that's the product is extremely expensive when it comes down to it. The labor of getting it
labor.
on there, like,
Yeah, so if it's
Hiding the
not fun.
box, hiding the,
Yeah, I've had a couple really big pieces that were
difficult.
just
Oh,
an absolute like because it's
Two-man
not-
show.
Not If they can come out with one that you can wet and install and
Yeah, it doesn't like wet.
yeah, no, and it's basically a giant screensaver. And
It's
as it gets bigger,
electrostatic adhesive,
yeah, as
yeah.
it gets bigger, it just becomes an absolute nightmare. So I'm glad that we don't like push it, and we've only installed a small amount of it. But it's
good to hear.
yeah, it's cool
Yeah,
to know
doing-
it's out there.
Doing doors is a very interesting thing.
Yeah, see, I got those things I don't want to figure out because you
Yeah,
have to
so
have
we
a
did a front
contact
door
point.
on a house that was
Pre-wired hinges.
Yeah.
well, we didn't deal with any of that part. So
And then one time we did sliding doors, and we built like the best way I can explain it is like a subway. Okay, the wire is attached. It had a constant connection, even if it were sliding. So it didn't have to have the only other option. Think of a sliding door.
Has to be
Okay.
in place.
It would have had to have like a retractable wire
Oh.
to go in and out, and that's going to fail so fast.
so the connection's on its own track that follows the door and just-
underneath the
yeah,
door, yeah. And
That's
it was
crazy.
a crazy build, but whatever.
yeah. Oh, how long are you in town for?
I'll be here till Friday.
Are you gonna be at Solar Guard's
Booth?
in the party on
Oh, yeah.
Thursday? Okay,
Oh yeah,
cool.
I've already got my pass. Michelle
Alright.
gave it to me.
Alright.
yesterday.
I got my.
Oh, that's the
names
other one we
in.
didn't mention. Michelle too. She's been around
Oh,
forever
I
too.
met- I met
Michelle is awesome.
She's
mentioned her.
amazing. Yeah.
She's
Yeah, but no, hey, I think we've been going for like 2 hours.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Whoa.
I really
Yeah,
appreciate
time just
you.
disappears. man.
I really appreciate you coming down and sitting down and talk with us.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be a very good one. I knew this was going to be extremely knowledgeable. I can't wait to implement the website and our captions.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so much for coming down, man. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
No, yeah, thank you. Where can people find you, man? What is your
Yeah.
Instagram?
Metro Tint LLC.
Okay, yeah, check it out, guys, because I've been following him for a while, and I've there's been quite a few times that I've sent content that you've made to Jordan. Like, check this out. We got to do something like this.
Yep.
'Cause
Oh yeah,
take a lot of inspiration from what you're doing, and it's just
Thank
good
you.
to see other people out there utilizing the technology and promoting the industry in a way that's not making us all look bad. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you're doing really good stuff over there, man.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank
you for coming
So
on.
are you guys. man.
Yeah,
We're trying.
we're trying.
Cool thing is, it's just like Tint, man. Like, just keep like that attitude you've got that you're constantly learning. We're just trying to apply that same thing to this. Like, can we keep getting a little bit better every day? And if we do, 3 years down the line, we might catch up to you.
As is life.
yeah.
Always learning something
Yeah.
every day.
Absolutely,
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
of course. You guys, you know how this works. Follow along. We appreciate it. Comment, share, like. Follow Metro Tint. Follow his content is amazing. Follow his content. See you next time, guys.
Yeah, follow, subscribe. Thank you.